Anshargal, the successor to the throne and the fourth of the kings to rule Nibiru. His wife was his half-sister Kishargal. Of his reign, the study had been the greatest legacy, and thus of the great tour of Nibiru he fixed a shah. Greater than a shah he divided into 10 parts and declared 2 festivities, one when Nibiru is close to the sun, another in its farthest and coldest phase. His intention was to unify the people, and he did it when the northern feast and the southern feast served everyone. It was in the reign of Anshargal and Kishargal that the law of husband and wife, of sons and daughters was created, and the customs of the first tribes were established to be followed. The law had been written. It states that a woman should be chosen as an official wife, and this was the first wife. And in the law, the firstborn was his father's successor. Confusions, disputes and wars did not take long to be created. If the firstborn son was not from the first wife's, but the second son was who would be the legitimate heir. On Anshargal's reign, concubines were once again brought into the royal palace. And so, the concubines had sons and daughters. Some time later the legitimate wife, Kishargal, had a son. By law, the son of Anshargal and Kishargal was the rightful heir, though not the firstborn. Kishargal, his mother, Anshargal's true and lawful wife, shouted angrily, "If according to the norms my son of a firstborn wife is deprived of the succession, do not let the double seed be neglected. Although from different mothers, the king and I are descended from the same father, the king. I am the king's half-sister, and from me, the king is also half-brother. So my son has the double seed of our father, Anib. Let, in succession, the law of the seed, over the law of marriage prevail. Let, in succession, the son of a half-sister, whenever he is born, rise above others in succession." And Anshargal the king decided as Kishargal his wife and half-sister had said. Their son, though not the firstborn, was proclaimed the next king. The law of seed had been adopted for succession, and thus the divergence between lawful wife and concubine had been decided. The new king was given the title of Anshar, the fifth on Nibiru's throne. Anshar also took a half-sister named Kisha as his wife. And so, even if Anshar had children by the concubines, the rightful heir would be the son of the king and queen. During his reign, the fields reduced their harvests and fruits and cereals lost their abundance. From cycle to cycle, from shah to shah, the problems grew more and more. In time, sages and scholars had been called to investigate what was happening. Some said it had happened before, and on that time it was happening again. That was Nibiru's destiny, they said. Others concluded that a hole had appeared in the atmosphere and that volcanoes no longer erupted as before, which made the air more tenuous, and Nibiru's protective shield considerably reduced its level of efficiency. Under these conditions, the sixth king had assumed the throne. Anshar was his name, son of Anshar and Kisha, and meant noble master of the Shah. Anshar studied a lot and looked for an answer in other planets and atmospheres. He gave the planets different names honoring their ancestors. Anshar named the region near the sun the Hamid Bracelet, and announced that the region was protected from intruders by various asteroids. Anshar continued studying and looking for a salvation. But from Shah to Shah, the hole grew more and more. The scholars, on their councils, discussed what to do, but there seemed to be no solution. Someone had pronounced the idea to try artificially stimulate volcanoes to produce new eruptions. Nevertheless, on Anshar's reign the hole only grew. It felt like some kind of curse. The rains did not occur, the winds blew stronger, and the springs did not emerge. Thus Duoru ascended the throne. He was the son of the king, but not the queen's son. Anshar married Nanshar, but she bore him no children. And then one of the concubines bore him a son, and so Duoru, son of Anshar by a concubine, took charge of Nibiru. Duoru had no double seed. Perhaps for this reason, he had not given importance. Duoru chose as first wife, not a half-sister by the law of the seed. It was for love. Confusion has taken place. At the royal palace, children were not heirs, and wives were not half-sisters. As if this fact were not enough, Sons and daughters of the king were not even born. The royal confusion had spread far and wide, like the hole in Nibiru's atmosphere that just grew more and more. Desperate Duoru, the seventh seed of En, along with his wife Dauru, decided to adopt a boy. They named him Lama and pronounced him the rightful heir, who was subsequently made king.